All right, Jimmy D here. It is June 21st, and I am on a long coffee trip here in Lexington, Virginia. And I actually have two things that I've been thinking about. First, of course, is how awesome it is being able to walk on these warm, I say warm, very warm days, and just get out with nature and start thinking about things. They've become a big part of my weekly preparation routine. And second is really in my AI world, right? In the agentic world, it's observability, right? How are you seeing things? Because in general, AI without observability, it's really just a magic box with a credit card, right? And so next, I started thinking, well, how are we going to do this? Now, don't get me wrong. There is still a lot of talk about it. It's still the wild frontier. Open telemetry is a big play right now, and one that I follow because it's open standards for monitoring traffic or transactions inside of your orchestration layer, basically whole AI environment. And from that point on, I'm sitting there going, well, why aren't we using metadata? I mean, I don't want to overcomplicate things, but what about using metadata to gather this information? Because back when I started, in NetOps and SecOps a long time ago, we as a company, I was working for a company called Plixer, and we really started taking the concept of NetFlow that was built by Cisco, taking the concept of NetFlow and actually using it to different levels, where we could see who was talking to who, what they were saying, how much data was being passed. But it got way past that, where we actually got into layer 7 and application visibility, or at least the industry started getting to that level, and we built a reporting engine around it. And I'm sitting there going, why can't we use something similar with AI visibility? And I started jotting some things down, and started playing around with some of the tools that I've been building, and it does. I think it has a legitimate place in this play because, for example, one of the challenges that I've had is that AI agents, right? So in my world, you've got your digital workers, you've got their playbooks, basically some of the things that they do, and well, of course, I want to make sure that they're always using the preferred connection mechanism. I'm still coming up with terms, but the preferred connection method, and many times it's MCP, or it's utilizing an MCP wrapper around an API, and those all exist in a gateway appliance. And so I'm sitting there going, I want to make sure, got traffic going on top of me, I want to make sure that is always being used. And if it's not, I want to know about it. I mean, who knows? It might be nefarious, right? It might be a prompt injection going a different route, or it just might be a misconfiguration. I mean, for an example, somebody went in there and at the prompt level of the playbook, they went in there and they adjusted the prompt. Maybe they're not the best prompt engineers or whatever, and it's reaching out in a way that it's not supposed to. Nonetheless, this is something that I need to be aware of, not only for network security, like I said, but what about some compliance, or just making sure things are running correctly, or who knows, maybe the incorrect prompt method is just basically eating up tokens, getting that information, because it's just not getting the information delivered in the proper way. I mean, there's a lot of value here. So in that situation, I started jotting it down and even messing with the code, where that at the playbook level, when that play is called, metadata is sent to a collector. Bingo. And then that metadata is like, the agent ID, the playbook ID, the the preferred connection method, right? MCP, maybe they're going to the ERP or the CMS. So what is the preferred connection method? And a bunch of other information that is light and ready to go. And then at the gateway level, it's the MCP gateway. It's the appliance that I've built, but there are others out there. At the MCP gateway level, it also says, hey, yeah, Jimmy, he just went out and asked for customer information, and it's going to be delivered via MCP, which in itself is a safer mechanism because it's going to only deliver the required information for this call. Bingo. It says I've got it, and jots down some other information that's important to it and sends it to the collector. And then, of course, when the collector sends it back, it's going to the gateway. Gateway says, yeah, I got it. Makes a note of that, sends it off, and then it gets back to the Foundry appliance, which is where the playbook exists, and says, yeah, Jimmy got the information that he needed. Fabulous. That is a legitimate conversation, legitimate connection. All's good. But what if, like I said, the data request is not through the preferred connection. It's not through MCP, right? So first off, that's a whole thing in our world, right? You don't want to sit there and have multiple MCP connections and their setups are in different places and stuff. I don't care where you go. Try to go through a gateway of some sort. Build an appliance, buy an appliance, whatever it is, go through a gateway where all that is managed and logged in one place. And in this scenario, what if it doesn't go through that? Well, that's going to be logged, or at least there's going to be a missing part of that log, right? So here in this situation, Jimmy says, I need customer information. And it goes out and gets that customer information. But it did do it through MCP. There's no record of that. So kind of like back in my Plixer day, right? There's network analytics or security analytics that would go through all of these data elements and look for traffic patterns that didn't match. And that would clearly be a traffic pattern that didn't match. And it would give you an alert moving forward. And at that point, it would hand that information over to your NetOps or your SecOps team, and more than likely SecOps team at this point. And they would have a playbook of how to investigate this further. Let me go look at Jimmy's conversations. Who was he talking to during that time period? What was he saying? Was there any other interesting information? And now in our world, they could actually go back to the orchestration engine and actually look at that prompt and make sure it's doing what it needs to do, saving a lot of time, a lot of money, and giving security back to your network. So anyway, I got all giddy about this one, and I'm going, this is my previous world. This is that value, right? So make sure you take a look at Plixer and what it does for network visibility or observability, because it really it's really valuable, really shaped my life. But anyways, so that's what I'm getting into probably today and tomorrow. Definitely, I have an MVP for what I wanted to detect. Another aspect that it'll be doing is the playbook. Think of them as being able to be used via, being able to be triggered via cron job. Because remember, that's one of the things that you're always you're doing. Is it a triggered event? Was it how do these playbooks get triggered? How do these skills get triggered or whatever? And so I created a play that actually goes through each one of the plays, looks at the prompts for each one of these plays, and starts logging. Like, how does, what's its execution layer? Who does it reach out to? All of that information. And so it goes through it, and if there's any abnormalities, it of course will kick out another alert or alarm moving forward. So again, all just kind of working through it. Looking forward to actually seeing some reports later on, maybe this week. But anyways, so hey, that's what I'm doing on today's long coffee trip. I've got some more steps to get in. So anyways, peace out.